a member of the Progressive Party. And Tim, come up and you have something to say. I forgot, our senator.
Well, first off, thank you. I'm Tim Ashe, City Councilor from Ward 3 and now a State Senator for Chittenden County. Today was my first day actually in the Senate, Richard, and I actually walked by my own parents who didn't recognize me. This was the first day of my life I wore a suit that I own, and the haircut, the shaving, the whole package. If you watch City Council meetings on TV, you know this is not, Tim's typical style. So, but I do it for special occasions like the Senate and being here to publicly express my deep support for Bob Kiss for the next mayor of Burlington. About 3 years ago, there was a nominating event to select Bob as the progressive candidate for mayor, and I was asked to speak a little bit about the need to preserve the now 27-year-old progressive legacy of government in the city of Burlington. At the time, I said that it was really critical, the role that Jane Nodell, Phil Fremont, Cheryl McDonough, and myself were playing in the city of Burlington, making sure that the council kept its focus on the key issues that really matter in people's lives. Affordable rental and home ownership housing, fair pay up and down the pay scale, making sure that we reduce our environmental impact. The reason I had to update people on the need to preserve that legacy was I think the council had sort of moved astray a little bit under the previous leadership, which included Andy Montrell's mayoral presidency. Some of the more pressing matters in our lives apparently were whether or not ferrets and exotic animals could be on Church Street, whether wrestling could occur in the city, and whether the circus would come to town. So we really needed to preserve the progressive legacy then as we do today. The most important thing we did that night was to nominate Bob Kiss as the progressive candidate for mayor. The city was facing very real problems then, some of the same problems and challenges that we face today. The pension fund was dramatically underfunded. The streets were in dire condition with no plan to systematically make improvements. The city was being faced with double-digit health care and workers' comp costs each year. Schools were being threatened, and the YMCA proposal had most recently been torpedoed at the polls. Things were so bad, in fact, that Kurt Wright, one of the mayoral candidates in this election, said on the eve of the mayoral election that really it didn't matter which person was elected, because no matter who it was, there would be a one-term mayor, because there were really no options but to raise property taxes to get our way out of the mess we were in. I want to take this occasion to thank you, Bob, for proving Councilor Wright incorrect, that we did not need to raise taxes, and that smart progressive government could solve that. 3 years later, into the Kiss administration, I think we all know that Mayor Kiss and C.A. Leopold have reached in and found many rabbits in the proverbial hat. They reached a historic fee-for-services agreement with UVM. They bid out the city's insurance, saving many, many thousands of dollars. They moved the city's pension funds into VPIC, the state's retirement fund, saving thousands of dollars in fees to some of those unnecessary money managers who we now know so much about in the national news. They negotiated tough but fair deals with the city's employees to ease the pressure on the retirement system. They pushed city department heads to bring in budgets at or below 3%. They've taken countless other measures to reduce costs, and the important thing is they've reduced the cost without reducing city services, which was one of Bob's key promises in that election. Some of these things have gone unnoticed in the Burlington Free Press, who apparently view other things as rising to the top of people's minds in the city of Burlington, but these things speak for themselves. After 3 years, we've now held the municipal tax rate level 3 consecutive years, which I think is the envy of any municipality in the state of Vermont, and throughout the country, in fact. People are envious and I think jealous of the work that we've been able to accomplish here in the city of Burlington. We have thanked Bob and Jonathan for that work. I do want to say a few words about the two candidates other than Mayor Kiss, with whom I'm more familiar. Both Kurt Wright and Andy Montrell are councilors who I have a lot of respect for, and learned very much from, and certainly in the list of accomplishments that I just laid out, none of that could have happened without a city council that worked with the administration to move some of these things forward. Sometimes they weren't 14-0 slam dunks, but they were the work of a lot of compromise and effort. But I have to say that I think that combined their campaigns really reflect a lack of introspection. Between the two councilors running for office, for the mayoral office, they have about 25 years combined service on the city council. At least a half of that time has either been in the role of council president or in the board of finance, which is the major budget committee for the city council. Bob had the very difficult task when he came into office of cleaning up a number of financial and institutional messes. This has been consistent since day one, that effort. And it makes me wonder why Councilors Wright and Councilor Montrol would sort of neglect to mention their role over the course of these many years, making all the many, many decisions which have helped create a climate where we've needed the mayor and we've needed the CAO to come in and clean up some of these messes. No blame resides with any one city councilor, but the mess that we've been forced to fix didn't get created in a vacuum. It was not a deliberate process. However, we all need to recognize that the mayor and the CAO walked into a minefield, pulled us out of it without having to reduce services or increase your municipal tax rate. That is an amazing accomplishment, and for all the critique that some of these councilors level at the administration, there should be a little sense of ownership of some of the problems that were created in the first place. So I want to just make that very clear. A few highlights, though, also put into perspective just how the city is doing, even in this very, very difficult time financially across the country. From the first quarter of 2006 to the first quarter of 2008, Burlington's total number of jobs grew by 4.6%. At the same time, the rest of the state had a decline of 0.2% of the workforce. Governor Douglas has talked about Jim equals jobs, and I like to think it's Jim equals jobs thanks to Bob's. Total wages in Burlington, so the money in all of our pocketbooks, has risen an astounding 23%, while the rest of the state grew by just 4.6%. An amazing figure, 23% increase in just a 2-year period, and they weren't the best and rosiest 2 years of the national's economic life. In addition, in the last couple months, we were named America's Healthiest City by the CDC, one of the top 10 places in America by the American Planners Association. We've been named the greenest city by several magazines. Even amidst this housing crisis, Burlington was named a real estate safe haven by Kiplinger's. We've been named the top place for women, for raising kids, for walking, etc., etc., etc. Bob's passed a proposal to finally do something to the Moran Plan. He received overwhelming public support for his systematic effort to improve city streets. He's received a near-unanimous vote from Burlington taxpayers to invest in McNeil. He successfully partnered with the Intervale. He's come up with a capital spending strategy that even the Burlington Free Press likes. He won council support for new economic development on the last urban renewal lot in the city, and on and on. Councilor Wright in the news has said that the administration is drifting, that the city is drifting under the KISS administration. So I just want to put this in perspective. Councilor Wright says the city is drifting. Under Bob Kiss's mayor, we're the healthiest city in America. The tax rate has been held in check. We're finally taking on the city's infrastructure problems. We've experienced dramatic job and wage growth. We're growing the downtown. We're getting the institutions to pay their fair share. We've negotiated more sustainable employee contracts. And we're even a beer destination, according to the Beer Journal. But that's drifting. That's a municipal government adrift. And I guess I would just conclude by saying if that's drifting, let's keep on drifting with Bob Case as our mayor.